Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the Ramsey Customs channel, and I thought I'd just give you a shop update on the inside of the shop and show you what I've got going on. I've just been really busy the last several months and with a lot of different projects. Some of them you've seen little videos and footage, some metal art stuff, you know, some of it I haven't. A lot of it I don't even film or show anymore because honestly YouTube is not I mean, you guys have all heard, you guys have seen the things that happened with Chucky 2009, you know, and it seems like if your channel is very highly sensationalized, you know, blowing stuff up, tearing something up, or, you know, things like, you know, buying old barn find lawnmowers, you know, whatever, things like that, you know, they're entertaining to people. But a lot of the stuff I have going on, a lot of the metal art I make, and you know, some furniture projects and things like that. It just, you know, unless you're like a big superstar like Jimmy DiResta, or you have something about you that your customers like, you know, or viewers like, you're just not going to do well, you know. And I'm not bitter about it. I wanted it to do better than it is. I wanted it to be a big part of my focus and income and all that, but you know, it just isn't, and that's okay. I make way more money for my time doing actual, you know, welding projects and metal art and all that for my customers than I do in here, you know, trying to film things for video. So anyway, I haven't really done much on the lathe. I bought some tooling. Here's a big Sandvik boring bar I bought for it, and I got fluids on order so I can get these. I've restored these covers, and I've got some acrylic pieces to go on that. And so I want to get to using this thing. I don't, you know, I'd love to take it and, you know, take all this apart. There's no mechanical reason to do that, and get it all cleaned up and give it a nice paint job. But, and I definitely am going to do that at some point. But in the meantime, I'd like to use it. It runs really good, and there's no reason not to. But the thing I'm working on right now is this air cylinder, pneumatic cylinder for the belt sander right over there, the Powermatic. So I had some videos on that several months ago when I first bought it, but the shaft in it was broken and it was leaking. So you can see that the shaft right there should have some threads up here, and you can just tell that it's, you know, been broken off. Everything else inside the cylinder actually looked really good, you know. I mean, it was, the walls of the cylinder were clean. The actual rings on the piston, the rubber rings, you know, look like they're in really nice shape and were sealing well. But the seals on the ends of each end is where it was actually leaking. Here's one right here. You can see it's, you know, really pretty crusty and pretty bad. So I bought a rebuild kit. It came with you know, new rings and everything for all of it, which I didn't end up using because the new piston, which is already in here, came with those. But I've got, you know, snap ring back in it. I've got the new seals on both ends. And the main reason I stopped working on this was I couldn't get it apart. It had these, you know, shafts like this that were in it from each end, you know, that had it bolted together. And they had a slot here. That's how you got it undone. And it was just, I couldn't get it apart. So I just cut the studs on each side. And then as soon as I did that, each one of them were loose. I mean, it's a little corroded right there, but none of them were bound up. So the one thing that I think was that they were probably over tightened at some point. Maybe somebody trying to seal up the leak that was in it. I don't know. And, but anyway, so I bought some threaded rod, and I'm going to cut it and just make, you know, put nuts on the top and bottom. And you know, it's countersink here so that those fittings will go in there so you have, you know, complete access around it. But honestly, I don't need that. I don't need it to be countersunk. There's nothing interfering, you know, around where it's installed. So these are 5/16. This is 5/16, which is the same size that was in it. So I just picked that up at Home Depot. And then the other air cylinder that controls the oscillation back and forth, all the spring, or had, you know, these springs that go on both sides, you can tell these are crusty. So I'm going to get that cleaned up a little bit, and I got new springs that are the correct ones, and we'll get this thing back up and going here, and hopefully show you that running here in a couple of days. And that's the top shaft that goes. There's nothing wrong with it. It seems to be in good shape. It's got some grease zerks on it, so we'll grease it up and get it back in there and see if we can get it to run right. But that's what's going on here. I was going to let you know that my new plasma table, I'm overlaying it on the screen, is almost ready. I should be, they're waiting on some parts. Actually, they've changed out the design, and some really cool stuff coming on it. They're using the Thermodynamics iCNC controller. So instead of the Windows, Mach 4 CNC control, they've got the industrial type from, which I guess ESAB now owns Thermodynamics. So it's the ESAB iCNC control, and looking forward to getting to that. My new one is going to be 5x10. This one's 4x8. So, and then I got something else in the works too. I'm in the process. I don't know if it's going to work out or not, but I thought I would just give you a preview of it. I'm wanting to get a laser tube cutting machine, and I'm working a deal with the company on, on seeing how I can get that worked out to get that in here. And if I get that, it's with my new table going to be 5x10, and that tube cutting machine, it wants to take 20 or 24 foot sticks of tube. I need to have it, because my building is 40 feet from here to here. I need that tube machine to be forward instead of pushed all the way back, so that I can get a tube in it and have room, for it to run itself back and forth. So what I'm thinking about doing is, well, first of all, I got this whole area back here that I've stacked this thing up in such a way that it's just a pain to get in there. Everything's jammed on top of the other. So if I want a piece of metal out of it, I got to dig all the way through, and I never do it. I don't even touch this hardly. In fact, I've started leaning other good sheets of metal up here against it, and it's just a lot of heavy offcuts that have little use on them, and almost the same kind of thing with the bottom of this. I've kind of just a lot of 3/8 inch plate offcuts down here, and I've tried to leave it where you can get to all of it, but I really need to look up on top. Just a lot of random stuff laying up there. It's just a big mess. I need to really think about how I want to get this organized, and definitely do something with that. So I'm going to be working on that, and at least kind of get this uncovered where, where I can do something more with it other than what it is used for. I don't think this is a good rack for small offcuts. I think this is probably a good rack for new material. Keep new material on this, and then maybe look at repurposing that for offcuts but really, I want it all out of here. I mean, I want the new material to stay in here, but all the offcuts I want to see about, getting outside some way, but also keep it from rusting. So, I don't know. We'll see. But sometime here in the next couple of days, I'm going to be working on that. You can see I got offcuts stacked over there, offcuts on the table. My barrel is full. It's just, I got random cuts back here. I mean, when you don't really focus on that and you just go from one thing to the next on jobs and trying to make money, and you don't really have a good organizational plan for how you're going to manage all that, there's usable material in that. That's 3/16 plate right there. But is it worth stepping over all these, cutouts and abandoned jobs where I had issues with the torch and it, messed up on me or whatever? I stuck them up here thinking I might, get something out of it, but honestly, I don't think so. I think a lot of things like this, I'm just going to scrap it and get it out of my way and focus on, when I cut jobs on the table in the future, focus on doing really a good job of nesting. And then when I get a sheet cut up like this, nest in, some cuts to get these pieces out, and then get rid of the carcass and figure out a way to do something with small coupons. I thought about just, having a bunch of coupons available and put them in a flat rate box and just offer them for like, $15 or $20 for people that are practicing welding. I've got a lot of aluminum, a lot of 3/8, 1/4 inch, 1/8 inch, a lot of that. and a lot of 16 gauge, you know, and for guys maybe that are making patch panels on cars or whatever. So, but even that, you know, it's just like, I mean, that wouldn't really be a money maker. That would just, you know, really help, maybe help other guys out and help me keep some of my organization, you know, done. So anyway, guys, I thought I'd just give you a quick look around, and let me get this back together here, and I'll probably put this up on another video, but I just thought I'd give you a look at the inside of the shop. And new plasma table coming, laser CNC tube cutting machine, you know, like a that will cut, I think, up to you know, cut round, or it'll laser cut round and square and rectangle tubing. It's kind of a lathe kind of deal that runs the tubing in and out, you know, and rotates it, spins it this way, and rotates the material in and out, so you can get all kinds of cool cuts out of it, you know. So yeah. All right, guys, I'll see you.